hope you're ready for this.
Gonna be fun.
You will not stand in my way.
Frostmourne, hunger. This pleases me.
I do not fear you, mortal.
Your soul shall be mine.
Don't make me laugh.
Need a brew? Oh, I do. Feel a shredding, baby. Let the battle begin.
So hello and welcome to the 24th episode of Trollin HGC, a Heroes of the Storm podcast focused on esports and a member of the Trolls GG Entertainment Network. I'm your host, LiQuid, and I'm joined today as usual by Bahgz. How's it going, man? Dude, we're like surrounded by people here. So normally it's me and Bahgz, or we have like one guest on, but today we have three guests on, and I'm just gonna go left to right and kind of hit you guys all up. So we have KilluZiioN from Team Freedom, and like Bahgz' personal on favorite for pro player wearing his Team Freedom shirt. How's it going, KilluZiioN? Oh, this is no good because they're saying no voice for you guys, boys. That's no bueno.
Wait, I'm not muted, right?
There we go. No. It's all good. I got that fixed. Production quality, baby. Production quality. All right.
It wouldn't be a Trollin HGC episode if we didn't have one hiccup during the intro.
Right? It's always that way. All right. Thank you, chat. All right. So KilluZiioN said he was good. Bahgz said he was good. HeroPhysio back from his retirement from casting. Coaching now, man. How's it going?
Doing fantastic. Excited to be back. Thanks for having me again.
No problem. And THEshortsteve, man, owner of LFM. What's up, buddy?
Hey, pretty good.
All
Things
right.
are looking good for us.
They are? We're going to dig into that because I want to hear more about that. But before we dig into that, I want to thank all of our patrons over at patreon.com/trollsgg. We do share that with the Nexus Trolls. And if you want to support the show, either of the shows, go ahead and head over there and sign up. We appreciate all of that. And to take that one step further, we have a Troll of the Week every week. And this week, Splash Gizmo is that troll. If you hang out in Discord, you've definitely met Splash Gizmo. Great guy, all around good dude. Always says hi, always has something to say, and great guy. So yeah, Bahgz, we got some news. We're gonna jump into news real quick. But first, got a little All right, so that was a bumper that Wiz not played, but we'll get added in post. We'll just keep rolling right on because I'm having an awesome night at doing this production thing. All right, two items that I had to add onto the list, and then we'll jump into the real news. Trolls.gg is looking for a graphic designer. Obviously, we're looking for someone that can help us out with some layouts, things like this. When we have 5 people on, I think there's definitely a better way to do this. We're also looking for someone to help with a tournament that we have coming up that we put on called Creators of the Storm. We get creators from various podcasts, etc. to play. Looking for some graphics for that. So if you're interested, go ahead and tweet me at LiQuidGG. DMs are always open. And then we also have an emoji contest. We're giving away a $20 Battle.net gift card if your emoji is picked. So if you want to design the emoji that we're going to use, go ahead and email that to trollin@trolls.gg. Bahgz, there's some other not trolls.gg news that we have to cover.
Yeah, so GFE finally personally announced the roster. Again, that was spoiled already by Blizzard, but GFE put out their press release for that. They picked up B-Kid, Big E, both from Laggeth, and as well as Fury rejoining the roster from Tempo. As well, they finally hired Cavalier Guest. It's something that they seemed kind of reluctant to do. It's official now. Cavalier Guest will be coaching that roster going into 2018. So congrats to him, friend of the show. Yeah.
I'm interested in what you guys think about this, about any of that specifically. If you have any thoughts. Anyone? Throwing it out to all three of you.
I think first off, huge shout out to Cavalier Guest. He's been working hard. He's put in a ton of hours. His content is great. I think he's going to be a huge asset to their team. And I think with their new roster now, if they're all accepting, if they're all willing to work at it, I think they've got a pretty decent roster. So I'm excited to see what they can bring.
Cool.
Yeah, same for me. I think the roster, like on paper, can be amazing. You just need to like sync him back up and work with Cavalier guests and make that work.
Awesome.
I gotta thank Big E and Big B Kid for leaving LagF. If they didn't leave, we wouldn't get in. So
Well said, sir. Yes, that does have to be said.
yeah. So and I'm happy for Cavalier Guest. He's been around for a long time. He really deserves it. So
I mean, I can't lie. Like, I was looking for LagF to fall apart like the entire second half of that phase. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm glad that happened. And I'm glad you guys are in, right? Like, that's just like the cherry on top for me.
I gave my thoughts on this last week. I think it's a rough looking roster at first, but it's also a roster with a lot of potential. I don't know about international potential, like maybe the previous roster we thought might have had, but it's definitely a roster that can compete for top 3 in NA if things click. B Kid and Big E were really great up and coming talents before they got on that Naventic LagF roster. So we'll see what happens. We know Fury is one of the best tanks NA has to offer. The potential's there. We just gotta see him put it together.
Right. All right. Here's Hearth released their jerseys for pre-order. They look pretty good. When are we gonna see LFM jerseys, man?
the jerseys are soon.
Oh, all right. I was thinking we were gonna get a not even a soon. I'll take soon. That's awesome.
A soon
Yeah.
team.
Oh no.
Right?
I'm still waiting on my Team Freedom jerseys. That's been a soon TM for like 6 months now.
Soon.
Shots fired. Had to come up though. All right, and then playoffs using the new patch. So this is interesting. I'm really glad you guys are both here. I'm glad all three of you are here, but like specifically from a coaching and a playing perspective, the fact that the GCWC playoffs are using the new patch, like, how do you even prepare for that? Do you prepare for that, or are you just like, whatever, we're gonna wing it? Like,
I don't know. I think first of all, it's pretty insane that that's what's happening, but it's kind of weird, right? Like, let's say like ahead of time that that's going to be the patch you're going to play in playoff. Do you actually want to practice this or practice on the patch you're going to play in opening week or whatever it's called, right?
right?
So it's so weird. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a tough position to be in, right? If you're caught off guard, you're just caught off guard. You have to scramble and adapt as fast as you can. There's no way around that. You're just given that situation. If you have time in advance to prepare for it, though, right, you're going to prepare somewhat for that group stage, knowing that you still are only playing for seeding, but you're really going to prepare for that playoff stage where I guess the results really matter. Right? If you have an edge in the playoff stage, there's a better chance that you'll get a little bit further, even though you might not get that lower seeding. So, I mean, it comes down to whether or not you knew ahead of time or if they were just blindsided by this.
Right. Well, and I got to believe that they thought there might have been a chance for a patch to drop. I'm still surprised that Blizzard didn't provide China with tournament realm just for this tournament, right? Let them play the whole tournament on the current patch. Roll it over to the new patch post, post the grand finals. Make it easy on the players. Like, let's not throw them a curveball mid tournament. And it's a tournament that NA has, and even to a lesser extent EU has traditionally not done well in. But let's keep it on even footing, right? Like, yeah. I don't know.
Do we know if the teams were notified, like that a new patch was going to come out?
As far as I understood, I think I saw Charles is in chat right now, manager for World 20. I saw him comment on Reddit that they were blindsided by it, I believe. So I don't think they knew.
Right. I remember reading that on Reddit. I haven't actually heard from anybody specifically other than the Reddit post. I imagine he's not lying on Reddit, right? But yeah, it's crazy. Even in when we were leading into BlizzCon, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna change the patch." It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
I think the patch was fine. The big thing was that Junkrat was going to be allowed, right? And everyone complained about that, and they just disabled them basically, which is which was a good call in my opinion. But I think that patch was fine.
Right. Well, like your boss just pointed out, you got a 2 a.m. call that's what they were going to be playing on. So it definitely was not. There was no pre-warning. I'm sure it was like 3 days early, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, you guys will be playing on this for the playoffs. Good luck tomorrow." Right? So
it's rough. And I guess the way they're set up too is like the server can't handle the computers they have couldn't handle a 40. The server couldn't handle 40 computers, sticking to the one patch or whatever. So they were forced to make the change too. It was like a lose-lose situation.
Right.
We'll
Okay.
see.
All right. Well, my man, you got some questions, so I guess we're gonna use this new bumper that I know will work, right?
I mean, I hope so.
Here we go. All right, Bahgz, I'm going to let you go ahead and throw some out there.
Sweet. All right. Well, KilluZiioN, thanks for joining us on the show tonight, man. Been a long time coming. I know I reached out to you shortly after BlizzCon. Here we are a month later. We got you on the show. Now that I've got you here, I just want to ask you some questions, kind of give our fans a brief background on the guy behind the keyboard, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
Start us off, man. Like, what attracted you to HOTS? And more importantly, what got you into the competitive scene of HOTS?
I mean, I kind of like discovered HOTS when I was like playing League a lot, and I was like, I don't know, like stuck in Diamond, couldn't reach like higher ranks, and I was trying to like go competitive in this game, so I was like, not depressed, but near to that, and one of my friends was like, yo, I'm trying this game, it's an alpha, want to play with me, basically, and I tried it, and I became good at it, I guess, and someone just hit me up at some point and like, hey, I've seen that you're like in the top 50 player on like which was outside before, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll try the team, why not? And since back then, like we grinded the amateur scene, and that's where it all started, I guess.
So, I mean, it's nice sometimes to kind of like get a fresh start, right? Like, so like League was already kind of probably pretty developed at that point too. So it's nice to kind of get in on the ground floor with something new. I certainly know that feeling when I got in on Heroes myself. Not that I expected to go pro or anything, but it was nice to get into a game where it's new and fresh for everyone, How did so Team Freedom kind of going into HGC 2017 wasn't really expected to be like a top tier team in NA, but you guys ended up being so. How did that initial roster come together?
I mean, when the league in general got announced, and like all the hype started like around the league, and people were trying to build up teams. Basically, I was still like looking around teams and like trying out for a bunch of different amateur teams. And that's where I met Insom at some point, and we tried to like get on a team together, and that's where I met Zug and Nasmus on like different roster, like iteration of rosters, and at some point we were like all teamless because we tried out with different people, and Zug just hit us up, and we were like, enough with the NA roster swap, we're building a team, and we're trying to stay together as long as possible, and that's where we like created the team and managed to qualify.
That's awesome, man. I'm happy to hear that. So how did you guys, I mean, I guess obviously hard work and determination and all those good cliche things, but like, how did you guys go from being like this no-name team that nobody really knew, like anybody on the roster coming into the season? Everyone expected it was going to be like Adventic, Tempo Storm, Gale Force. Those were going to be our top NA teams. Superstars was a dark horse. Team Freedom was supposed to be a seventh place team. How did you guys end up all the way up in second place and qualifying for BlizzCon?
I guess it's a thing in NA, right? Like even Team8 was like, supposed to be the last place team, and like everyone was making fun of them, right? And they became like the best team in NA probably. Like it's pretty insane. I don't know. It's been a like story of my life. Super underdog team every time I join a team, and people like don't expect people like teams that have like no-name-ish players on their team or just newer players in the scene, right? So I guess that just said like people were not expecting us to be good or just improving, which is weird. I don't know. And yeah, we like just kept improving and spammed the game as much as possible. And at some point, we caught up to everyone.
That's awesome, man. Shout out to you guys for that. It's nice. Like, you know, I mean, I don't always want to say give credit to Reddit, but listen, they're always asking for new blood in the scene, and that's what you guys brought to the table. So shout out to that. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, following up on that, how was it to compete at BlizzCon? Like, that's something you're always watching on Twitch or the virtual ticket or reading about on MMO Champ or something like that. Like BlizzCon, like competing at BlizzCon as a pro player, not even just going as a fan. Like, you are there as a player. How was that?
It was incredible, basically, man. Like, just getting to the venue, like walking through like the entire line of people were like, oh my god, there's a lot of people there, and I was like just not even half of the people going to the venue. Like, I don't know, that was insane. The feeling being backstage waiting for like the host to like introduce us is like incredible, and then when you finally sit down and see everyone, like the entire like football field of people watching, you're like, oh shit. All right, that's like that's intimidating, but after all, like the second we get in game, you kind of like get in your zone.
Yeah, you flush it out. I hear you. Like, I used to, not the same thing, but I ran track and cross country in high school, and like when you're competing, there's noise, but you hear it, but you don't hear it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly, and you just go. So speaking of BlizzCon, I have a question for Hero and the shortsteve. Are you guys like, is that your goal this year? Are you guys looking to just do well in 2018? Or are you looking to make it all the way to BlizzCon top 3? We're coming for you guys. Like, where are you guys at? No pressure.
Wow. Well, the ultimate goal obviously is to win a championship, right? Go to BlizzCon, win everything.
Right.
I don't know if we can do that this year, but the hope is eventually. So we're going to be building towards that. Everything we do is to build towards that in the hero scene, and hopefully we can get there one day.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly the answer, right? You set your sights for BlizzCon, but a realistic plan has realistic goals along the way. Nobody ever aims to just get to the NBA, for example. First, you got to make your elementary school team, then you got to make it to high school, then you got to get to college. You got to set those stepwise goals along the way. And so that's what we're doing with the preseason and going into this first split. So I think we'll have some realistic goals getting in, but of course, ultimate goal will be BlizzCon.
Awesome. Okay.
Sweet. All right. So right after BlizzCon, you guys lost 2 players. You lost Dansky and Kier. And you had to scramble to pick up 2 new guys. Was that something you expected, or when did you find out that they were leaving the roster?
So Zug and our manager knew Kier was gone like a while ago, before BlizzCon, like probably like a month or something. Dansky was like, I don't know, a week or 2, but they made the decision to like not tell me and Nasmus, so we can like just focus on the game and like not think about that. Zug like took, I guess, the bullet for everyone, and like
he shouldered that burden.
Yeah, basically. And you know, like at some point, you know, something's going on. Like something was weird around like just the atmosphere of the team. But like when we got eliminated. That word's hard to say. Sorry. When we got knocked out.
There you go.
Like we had a meeting and we just talked about it, and you know, they told us they were going to roll 20, and me and Nasmus already had like an idea like who was free agent, and we're like, I mean, Yolo Lutano free agent, right? And that's like what Zug and Goofy had in mind as well. So it's like just clicked, and we tried him out real quick, and we like just made the roster right away.
All right, so that you already answered the follow-up question there. Yeah, so I'm glad to. So they just like you trialed them, and just like that, it clicked and it all fell in place, huh?
I mean, to be honest, the roster was locked in the day after like BlizzCon. Like we knew we wanted to play with those guys. Yoda has been like a monster. Lutano is like probably like the most upcoming player, like the best upcoming player in the scene, in my opinion. So
he's the NA version of Poyik.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that. Yeah.
Sweet,
So
man.
I was really happy when we got those 2 players locked in. I was like, our roster is probably just as good or better. So
I'm excited to see it, man. I really can't wait. The other question, this one I think is from one of the fans of the Trolls.gg Discord.
Yep.
Have you guys been scrimming on the PTR or live? Are you trying out the new changes for 2018, or are you just sticking with what's already out there and you got so much time to kind of worry about it that you're not yet? I don't know. What are you guys doing? PTR or live?
PTR 100%, which is a little bit sad because there's so many bugs on it right now.
Yeah.
There's like a bunch of like random ability getting casted for no reason. It's really insane.
Is that what you guys are experiencing too, Hero? Same type of stuff, PTR, and it sucks?
Yeah, there's been some random bugs and things that, anytime that happens in a scrim, you don't get to practice what you intend. You just have to play around all of these bugs and,
Right.
miss cooldowns, things like that. So it's a little bit unfortunate for the practice atmosphere.
What do you guys think of the changes, at least for the pro scene? Are these good changes that they're making?
At the beginning, I was like kind of worried because it's like a lot of changes, and like these are like extremely big changes. Actually,
Yeah, they're huge. Yeah.
Yeah, they're huge. And after playing it a bunch, it's actually like it's not that crazy. Like you get used to it real quick, but it's like a big difference. Like watching games from like 2 months ago and what we're gonna see in 2018 is gonna be a lot different on like how people play the map and stuff. So I think it's a good patch overall.
All right, sweet,
After
man.
playing it a lot.
Does it like change up strategy in any way, or does it kind of, for the most part, it's similar? There are just some minor changes, or
There's a lot of difference since like the camps spawn early now, like in 1 minute. Like there's a lot of rotation around camps early game and makes the early game way different. Like there's no more like I don't know, like just 3 lane, like in like 3 guys taking the lane and just pushing forever. Like at some point the other team's gonna get more value, like doing siege bottom camp, let's say on Sky Temple. So you need like more rotation early game, which makes the dynamic different.
would you say for viewers it's maybe it'll be more entertaining now?
I mean, maybe I don't know. There might be more action early game. Like
Hey, no,
depends
more
on-
action's a good thing.
Right?
Yeah, it is for sure. But I don't know. I think the game is still the same game in the end. So if you like
Okay.
heroes, you like heroes. So
I'm just curious because we haven't seen it yet, so I'm just being nosy.
I there are some interesting things in scrims on PTR. I will leave it at that.
At the very least, what they'll get is more talking points for the casters of HGC,
Yes.
because now they'll be watching everything and they'll have to be analyzing everything that's going on now, because if everybody says it is what it is and it's changed so much, they'll have to explain to the general audience, why is this happening now?
Yeah. I've looked at a couple of replay files. It's different. It's fun. It's different. I can't wait until 2018 starts. This can be fun. All right, sorry, Bahgz, go ahead.
You might have already answered this, but maybe I'll try and narrow it down a little bit. With the new laning changes, like, what's the biggest thing that's going to be changing for your role as a support player? Is there anything?
Not much, to be honest. Like, I think the biggest change is like the rearguard mouth change, like the wave clear changes.
Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of hero now that like you can't really just be soloing in a lane. It's more just like Brightwing now, or I mean, Rhaegar can do it, but way less effective than before. So
Yeah.
you're basically always with someone doing stuff like roaming or just dual laning or something. So
Are there any characters that you feel like got stronger or?
Where going?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's Steve, you're echoing. Again.
Oh, sorry.
We could do a remix. Song.
So
Yeah, it's still coming through. Wait, there it is. All right, we're good now.
All right, we're in great shape.
woo, let's do it. What were we talking about again?
I was asking you, are there any support characters you think are going to be stronger or weaker? You already said you think that Rhaegar is going to be weaker as far as laning. Are there any other characters that are actually benefiting from these support nerfs?
I mean, maybe not the support nerf, but let's say the sieges changes. Like a hero like Lucio can solo sieges now. It takes a while, but you don't take damage. You know, there's like little stuff like that, like you can change, but overall the supports are basically the same. Rhaegar's a little weaker. Malf is, Malf is interesting actually. There's like a couple strategy where you can use Malf as a solo laner now, since the level 1 is different. But other than that, it's basically the same.
All right. And then pivoting away from that, man, maybe you should have asked this sooner. What kind of like looks do you get from your family and friends when you tell them like, hey, I play video games for a living. Like, this is what I do professionally.
I mean, it's different from people to people, right? Like
right.
my close friend are like, this is cool, like keep going. Like they watch my game and they think it's super interesting, and you know, they get into the game as well, which is pretty cool. Other friends that are like a little away from esports are like, well, I guess you make money out of it, which is pretty cool.
Right.
And then you have other people that are like, what the hell, you play a video game all day? Like, you're a loser, whatever, right? But I guess that's, you know, how it goes, right? And other than that, my family, I think it's mixed up between it's pretty cool what you do to at least you make money, which is fine. I don't have really a bunch of support from my family. Like they think it's okay what I do, but they're like not watching the game and stuff. You know? But most of the support I get is from my close friend here.
That's good. At least they're not actively like saying, you better quit playing that video game and
right.
do something else, boy. You know? So, LiQuiuD, do you want to
I do.
spearhead this next section?
I do. All right, so Hero, we're focused on you now, buddy. So how did this happen? Like, the last we saw previously was that you were going to focus on some non-hot stuff. And then to give everybody a little bit of history, I happened to be in the Gankbush Squad Discord with Hero, and he renamed himself HeroPhysio 2.0. And everybody was trying to figure out what exactly that meant. And then boom, this tweet drops, I'm coaching LFM. So how did we get from I'm doing non-hots to I'm coaching LFM?
Maybe I'll take it a bit back.
All right, go ahead.
Because how did I even get into HOTS and like get into casting and all that? I think it's just personality type, right? I like to do more, learn more, and find something to occupy my time. So I've got my regular day job, but once I get home, I like to, you know, sit down, play a game of HOTS, learn the game, figured out I wanted to do more, loved the game, started casting, loved casting, want to do more, so I started analysis. Did analysis and casted for parts of the HGC Open, and what I got was a recommendation to do a little bit of analysis work during the Open for imported support. So I was involved just at the very end when they're making their push for the Crucible. Yep. That was around the time that they took a set off of Heroes Hearth. Right. And so after that, helped them prepare for Crucible. And I will say, we were 2 games away from making it in. And so once we actually found out that we got into HGC, I still have my outside of Heroes work happening. That's all still going on. I just have to do a lot of time management to make sure I set aside time and prioritize certain things.
Okay. So you're coaching, and you know, it's interesting. Bahgz and I try to talk to all the coaches, the managers, like everybody we can, because we think support roles are just as important as players. Like, that's one of our key tenets of our show. And a lot of people say, well, what does this coach do and what does that coach do? Because each coach kind of does something different. So what's your specific role as a coach with LFM?
Hey, you're right. There are a lot of different styles and roles to coaching. Primarily right now, you know, without giving away too many of my trade secrets and whatnot, I am working with the whole team. I am working individually with the team. I'm helping them identify areas that they want to improve.
Okay.
And I think as a coach, your job is to bring out the best potential in each player, identify goals together and work towards the things that they want to improve, but also see the larger picture in relation to the rest of the team and to bring that together. So
Okay.
I'm working a lot on that side of things. Am I working on draft? I know you're going to push me on that question. I am helping the guys prepare for draft, right?
Okay.
I'm not going to be directly drafting for them because, to be honest, I don't know if we'll be allowed to draft for them, right? I don't know if I'm allowed to be on stage with them. I don't know if I'm allowed, to be on comms with them every time. So what I will do is help prepare the team to draft for themselves.
So I'm gonna take that a step further because we saw a number of coaches at BlizzCon on the stage doing drafts, and some would even say that was one of the reasons that MVP Black did so well. Some might not. I mean, clearly they're very mechanically skilled players, but they also had their coach sitting there drafting with them. If the summit happens next week and coaches still have the ability to be on comms during the draft and be on stage during the draft, is that something you would like to do, or do you fall into the other side of things where I think Ether was the one that said, I don't want to draft, I want to help them draft better? Like, which side of that argument do you fall on?
For me, I am going to fall on the side of allowing the team to draft because I think these are a group of very intelligent players, a group of intelligent young men, and all they need is for me to assist them in figuring out, the meta, if things are changing, if there's a new patch that changes, how that affects certain things. I can help them identify patterns and trends that other teams are doing, and then they have all the tools to make comfortable decisions that when they get into the game, they don't second guess their draft. This is their draft. They've done it. And they know exactly what the strengths and the weaknesses of all their heroes, their compositions are. So I give my guys a lot of credit.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So let's jump over to all right. This is a question directly from one of our writers over on Trolls.gg. What is the thing you would most like changed about HGC, and why is it a paid coaching slot?
I feel like you're leading me to an answer.
No,
here.
it can totally be whatever you think it is. Obviously, I personally think that a paid coaching slot is important, but I'm actually interested in what you think they should change.
In terms of the HGC, I think everybody's said it before, but more focus on the players, more focus on the matchups. I want it to be exciting. I want people to connect with it. I mean, I've connected with heroes. Especially the amateur scene, right? I was such a supporter of helping these young players develop, and now I think we're the underdogs now. So to see even more development and to see these stories unfold, that's what I want to see is to actually see that potential rise, and then once they're at the top, to continue seeing them perform at that high level and to have those highlights and to have those stories there.
Right. Awesome. Okay. Let's see. I lost my place. Oh, okay. This is actually a good question because I see this. There have been there's lots of chat on various Discords out there and lots of people in Reddit. I mean, it is Reddit, but what are you gonna do? Do you think NA respects coaches?
It's a good question, and I won't answer for all of NA because I'm just one guy. What I will say is that our team, our guys, have been acting with extreme respect. Right, we're coming from a place of, I guess, extreme humility, where we understand that we have to be open-minded and try to approach the game with an open mind and learn as quickly as possible and improve at a rapid pace, arguably even faster than anybody else if we're to be successful. So everybody that I'm working with is very open to feedback, very open to discussion, willing to work on things. They're self-identifying things. They're starting to open up. and they're very objective in it too. So the type of coach that you bring in, I mean, I don't have to be an authoritative coach. I have to be a facilitative coach, right? To get the most potential out of the guys. You know, will they respect me? Most of the time, when I step into a new realm, I gain respect, I gain trust through actions. And so are the guys starting to respect me, or have they already respected me because of all the work I put in before? Yes. So if they respect me as a person, they respect me as a coach, they respect the way I work with them. We've had a really productive preseason so far.
Awesome. And last question.
You mind if I jump in on that?
No, man, go ahead. Go absolutely go ahead.
All right. So my point of view on coaches is that, especially in NA, is that there's not a lot of person that can actually like do the job correctly, and it's not to be BM at all. It's just some people can do it, but they don't mesh with the team they want to coach.
Right.
So like you could have the best coach, and they're all like, let's say Nobles, right? You bring it here, let's say you speak English as well, right? And you put him on a roster, and he like doesn't mesh with us at all. Like, there's no point having him around. Like, it's just gonna be like confusing for our drafter and like just the team in general. It's just gonna be a waste of time, right? So you need to find the right person to do it. And if you find that person, I think coaches are like super helpful, and like hopefully, I mean, I think every team's gonna have one by the end, like, of 2018, and like going further.
That's a really good point. You know, different teams have different styles of coaches, right? You have like Steve actually sent me a video the other day of Greg Popovich, but then you've got other styles of coaching that, you know, some are very authoritative, very strict. Others are a little more easygoing, freestyle. And then you've got people who are in between. So, you know, the style of coaching does play a big part in, you know, how well they are able to work with the team.
Well, and not just the style of coaching, but I think KilluZiioN, to take that a step further, like just meshing, right? You know, you can get 5 people on a team, and if one of them doesn't get along, the team doesn't do well, and you have to replace that person, you know, between phases. It's no different with a coach. If the coach can't get along with the team, regardless of the style, they can have you can have 2 laid back coaches, and one of them gets along with the team and one of them doesn't. Like, that's a problem, right? So a coach is like any other role on the team. The same could be said for the manager. I think the only one that would not say that is maybe the owner, but then you have other issues that like Naventic style issues. But it needs to be a good fit all around. Otherwise, people aren't happy. They don't play well. Like, all of that blends together. So cool. Okay. Last question. And actually, any of you guys can answer this if you want to. What do you guys think about a paid sub spot?
I'll let KilluZiioN take that one first.
All right, so the question is, do you have a sub just to actually sub if someone has something else, or is it a 6-player roster? That's a big difference, right?
Well, right. No, that's a good point. I look at it more as a 6-player roster play. Now, then you get into, well, do you let the 6-player sub at the draft, or is it like once those 5 people are seated at the keyboard, those are the 5 in the draft and the 6 players out? So I guess we could really probably answer it either way. You can have a sub you can either say it's a sub only to fill in when somebody can't play, somebody's sick, you know, glasses are broken and I don't have a spare pair, whatever the case may be. Or you can answer it as, no, it's a full 6-player and you get to pick the 5 the day that you're playing, right? I'm okay either way. I'm curious on your thoughts.
Okay. So let's go with the 6-player roster then. I know what they do in League, right? They have like bigger rosters sometimes, right?
Right.
They swap the player before the draft start, but you can actually swap players like during a set. So like you can have like your top laner switch like 2 times like during the set or whatever. There's no limit to it.
Right.
So that's a thing. If it's a 6-player roster, I don't see why he's not getting paid. I think it's a good idea actually. Okay. Like if you have like, I don't know, two guy like that plays melee but have a different hero pool in general. Like you have the guy that plays like all the melee assassin and the other guy play all the tanks or whatever. You can have a 6-player roster and like rotate, like, I don't know, you know, you're going on Infernal Shrine, you want probably have a man on this map, just swap the two guys in. Like that could be a possibility. I don't see why not.
Okay.
I'm just gonna follow up on that. I've been very adamant about like, we don't know if we're gonna get it, but like, just I want 6 player rosters just because it does a lot of things. There's room for if someone's like a one trick and there's a draft that you want to work around. I mean, you probably won't do it for just a one trick, but that's an option. If you want to take someone, say that's say a little riskier, maybe from open division or something, you want to pick them up during a transfer period, and say they don't work out, like you're not necessarily stuck with them for 6 months as a weak link, in your starting 5. It sits on the bench, right, until you need them. But it also gives you a lot more flexibility. You can see higher quality matches, whereas someone's better at a certain character than another person, and you can always put out the most optimized roster in that case. And like you said, it just gives you a lot more flexibility. But the biggest thing for me is it gives us a lot of times rosters are afraid to take a chance on a player that they think might be good, but they're not 100% sure, and the tryout period's not really long enough to figure that out. So they're afraid to take that risk and get locked into having someone for 6 months or however, for the entire phase before they can make a move again. This allows them that option where they can take that chance and not get punished as hard.
For me, I think it's kind of an inevitability that we're going to have larger roster spots. From an owner perspective, it's logistically like a nightmare every time free agency comes up, because we see it all the time. Like a team disbands, like Korea just had a team disband. We had B-Step disbanding. We had LagF this time disbanding. Like if Blizzard is going to limit the amount of people that can move between teams, then you're going to need to have substitute players in case like a team, especially if the team is sponsored. Like I don't in a position where 3 people leave and like I can't be in the league anymore just because I have to release 3 people. So I think it's like an inevitability, but there's like other logistical concerns. Like if Blizzard is going to allow more people on the roster, that means they have to pay more people. And since Blizzard dictates the salaries for the most part, like how are you going to pay them? Like how much are they worth? Things like that. So there's still a lot of discussion that needs to go on before that can happen.
Right.
Yeah. As an advocate for the players, which I usually am, if you're adding a 6th roster spot, all the players will say yes. That opens up 8 more paid positions for players, right? Regardless of whether it's a per contract or if it is another open spot in an organization. That means more professional players in the scene, right? That just creates more opportunities for them. Does it make for more exciting games? It can, right? For the fans, for the viewers, right? All of a sudden you've got a pinch hitter coming in and they're running a triple melee composition or something that you didn't expect. And then you've got this star of the show who was, sitting on the bench, so to speak, but then comes in and plays his one trick and is just amazing on it.
Right.
So from the fan side, that could be really exciting too. I guess those are probably the 2 perspectives that I probably approach it from.
Cool.
All right, with that, I want to transition over to shortsteve here. We've got you here. You're the first owner of an HGC team we've ever had on the show.
Which, by the way, is one of my personal dreams. I'm just going to leave it at
that. But before we dive into the ownership questions, I want to ask you, give us a little background about yourself. What got you into Heroes, competitive Heroes? How did this all kind of start?
Oh man, I have to go all the way back to Alpha to answer that question, because I actually started out as a competitive player. If you didn't know,
I didn't. So
yeah. Back in Alpha, I was on 2ARC. If you didn't know that, and I played for them, and then I quickly found out that I suck. So so like after Alpha and stuff, I was gonna quit Heroes, but I would still follow it every once in a while. And I got back in when I met Miasma, like the org. I remember I was actually the coach of Miasma for like a year, and I helped them I helped them build up to what they were, and then like I even played on Miasma for a while because one of the qualifiers, it wasn't HGC back then, it was what, I forget what it's called, but one of the qualifiers, we didn't have enough players on the team, so so quickly I had to like stop coaching and play for the team for a while. And we actually did okay. Like we almost actually qualified for one of the lands. And then I don't know if you knew this, but like at the end of Miasma, we were actually, I think KilluZiioN, you tried out for us.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
Hey, it's like a it's like a sucker.
Yeah, and then I remember you telling me specifically like, you know, if this GM Jackets thing doesn't work, I'll come play for you, right? And then, yeah, I'm happy it worked out for you and everything. And then so like every like it got very how do you say it? It was frustrating. Like we would do really well and then like fall short, and then like the entire team would just leave, and we have to find a whole new team and then build them back up. It was happening all the time, and then so like one day. I was just like, I'm done with this. I'm just gonna pay people to stay on my team, right? Right. And then so I started LFM with a business partner, and then since then we've started doing that. And our goal is obviously BlizzCon and winning. So, what was the question again? Sorry.
No, I think you just got it.
You answered a couple of them. You even tackled some of the follow-up questions, like how you ended up as the org owner. What would you say? And I'm asking this for LiQuid.
I didn't write this, but it definitely is.
What would you say to anyone who's interested in trying to become an owner someday? And I'm sure there's listeners that are interested as well.
It's definitely a passion project. Like, you know, I do the market analysis of esports and stuff. If you really want to earn money, being an owner is probably not the way to go. Like
Right.
at least right now, like it doesn't add up. The money just doesn't add up right now. So, like we know that, and we knew that going in. So that's why we're in this for the long haul. We're making plans and making business decisions and the stuff that are geared towards the long haul and not towards the short term. Because if you want to make money in the short term, it's probably impossible. So, yeah.
I mean, if you look back at TSM, right, that was just Reggie with a bunch of money, right? And they started that team, and it's one of the biggest org right now. So, who knows, man?
That's true. That's a good point.
I guess the next thing I wanted to ask you is, you guys had a really strong team for Open Division Phase 1. Like LFM, unfortunately, maybe due to structure of the first Open Division playoffs, did not qualify. But as far as I know, in Phase 2, you guys didn't have a team. How did you end up picking up imported support? Like, this completely came out of left field for me when this was announced. Like, the rumor was imported support was coming into the league. That we knew. But I don't think anybody had mentioned LFM picking up imported support and coming into the league.
Right.
We've actually been sponsoring imported since September or August. We just told them like, oh, you can keep your name for now. That's basically what it was. We were just like in the background. We didn't like originally after Phase 1. We were looking at our options, and we were actually one of the people that were bidding for the current Heroes Hearth team, right? That team decided to go to Heroes Hearth, and after they went to Heroes Hearth, we decided, okay, what are our other options? So we went to imported, and you know, Draded was on the Phase 1 team, and we liked it, so we were happy to sponsor him again. And then, as far as imported, we were just we were just like we told them you can keep their team because they already sort of had a following, and we didn't want to mess with that at least for the time being, because LFM as a business didn't really have a business because we needed a team first to have a product. So like we were just like, okay, until this actually can become a business, you can keep playing under imported, and that's basically what happened. So if they ever made it into the HGC, they were going to switch to LFM, and they knew that back in September, like a long time ago.
That makes a lot more sense now. Like
Yeah.
a lot more sense now. So one of the interesting questions we got out of one of our writers was, would you support a ban on name changes for the organizational slot during the full HGC? So all of like 2018, it will, like, that is your name, period. Like, no changing, no, assuming everybody has some kind of organization behind them at that point, which they have to because of, or at least an owner. I don't know. How would you see that working? Or do you see that working? Or is it we're going to be able to do whatever we need to do because ultimately we have to make our business model work as well as Blizzard's?
For us, we're not changing our name because we actually already registered our name. So we're actually an established company.
Okay.
Corporation. So we're not changing our name. So I've never actually thought about that, to be honest. But I feel like if you're gonna try to build a following and build like a brand,
right,
a franchise, whatever, you have to go with, unless your name really sucks for some reason, like just stick with it.
Superstars.
Oh.
Listen, the new name Old Gods is absolute fire. So listen, they did the right thing.
Damn.
All right.
No comment. No comment.
I'm not touching that one. I'm gonna just wow. All right. What? All right. So we know Crucible. I'm a big fan of Crucible and Demotion. I like that it allows amateur teams to fight their way in. I like, that's my thing. I love the fact that there's the ability to knock a team out and get promoted into the Premier League. But we're not here to talk about my thoughts. We're here to hear your guys' thoughts. So still sticking with shortsteve, what do you think about Crucible and the demotion? And are you happy with that whole system? Would you like to see anything change next year?
I don't really have an opinion on it. Like, it works for League. So if it works for League, why wouldn't it work for Heroes, right? And otherwise, you would need some other system, because what's important about having a strong competitive scene is the turnover. You need to have good turnover in the scene, right? Any sport has huge turnover. Like, people don't realize that, like, the NBA, 20 to 30% of the players change every year. So you need turnover, and you need like a system of turnover, and the Crucible brings that. Like, if you don't have the Crucible, then we'd have to consider some other system for to give the young bloods like a chance, you know, and then like weed out the bad blood in the league, right? So I'm fine with it as a system. I mean, it works in League, so I don't think it needs to be changed at all.
Fair enough.
So, quick question. In League, I know they changed their system, right? Which, like, it's the same in us, where the org owns the spot. So what happened if the team get Crucible? Like, who owns the spot now? Is it the new team? Like, you lose your, like, investment? Like, how does this work?
We just signed the new 5 players, basically. I think that's how it's going to go. I'm not too sure about the details, but we'll have an opportunity to sign the new players that come in.
That's the real question. Like, that's what I don't know. I think that's something that's probably going to get discussed at the summit. I would hope it's going to get discussed at the summit, because I think that's a critical question, right? Yeah. Like, what happens at that point? And actually leads into this next question.
I guess this is more. This one is like, should teams have their own name on top of the org name? Like, so like like with KSV, like it's KSV Black. There was back when it was MVP Black, Sky, Miracle, Cloud9 had Vortex, Maelstrom. Should it be like Team 8 sponsored by Roll20, or should it just be Roll20? Like, how is that going forward for these teams that aren't currently owned by orgs? If they pick up a big sponsor, does L5 is now known as Ballistics? Is it L5 Ballistics? Is it just Ballistics? Like, what are your thoughts on that? I guess if I would imagine as an owner, you want your name front and center, but speak to me.
Yeah, it's, as an owner, obviously I want my name front and center, but also if you want sponsorships in general in the league, you're gonna have to do that because it's the only real way to get your return on investment. Like, I don't think as an organization I would be interested in investing in a league where I would just be like, LagF sponsored by LFM, right? Because we actually do a lot more than just like pay the money. We help them with a lot of other things. Like, I hired Hero here, right? So right. I asked him to be the coach for Imported. Like he said, he was coaching Imported at the end of phase 2, but that was also because I asked him to. Like, I actually went out and looked for him. So, we do a lot of the things like that. My job is to make sure that the players get whatever they need to be the best that they can be. So I don't think it's fair for an org to just, tack a name on the side, right? They play for the team now, and that's basically what our contracts basically says too. So
I think that's fair to say. If you're gonna sponsor late night Taco Bell runs because that's what the team says they need, then you have earned the right to to have full naming rights.
Right. Or hiring the coach, manager, like whatever, like masseuse,
those things aren't
right?
important. Let's be real. These guys are fueled by Red Bull and Taco Bell. No, I'm being sarcastic. All right. Do you have any other questions, LiQuiuD? Because I'm out of questions.
No. I think you guys. I mean, I'm sure we have discussion topics, but I think that's all I had to drill these guys on. Yeah.
You guys ready to talk some GCWC?
Let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right.
I don't know. I'm not on that end of the computer.
I'm going to take a minute to fix that stuff while you go ahead and start going through our results.
All right, sweet. So to review, group stage is over. GCWC has transitioned into the playoffs, which started today. And let's just recap the matches real quick. Thursday, SPT took down Beyond the Game 2-0. KSV Black defeated CE 2-0. Fnatic defeated Roll20 2-0. It was the day of 2-0s, folks, because Dignitas also defeated Ballistics 2-0, which surprised me. I expected Dignitas to split that series 1-1. Friday the next day, Ballistics took down SPT 2-0. Dig split with Fnatic 1-1. Roll20 lost to KSV Black 2-0, but those were close matches. As well as so were the Fnatic matches. More on that later. CE defeated Beyond the Game 2-0. SPT on Saturday lost to Dig 2-0. Roll20 lost to Ballistics 2-0 on Saturday. Fnatic defeated CE 2-0 on Saturday. KSV Black 2-0 Beyond the Game.
Lots of 2-0s, man.
Lots of 2-0s. Sunday, the final day of groups. Fnatic split with SPT, which was a shock to a lot of people. And Ballistics kind of leveled up their game. Split 1-1 with KSV. Dig 2-0 Beyond the Game. And then Roll20, shockingly, were 2-0 by CE, which we did not expect. That was a surprise.
Before we go into today's games, I'm curious how you guys feel about the format of GCWC.
Love it. Just the fact that there's like more game in general, and there's a loser bracket in the battle stage of the tournament. Like that's all good to me. I don't see any downside to this. So
okay.
I like it.
Other than the critical time zone difference between China and the rest of us.
Yeah, but for sure.
Yeah, everyone loves it just because you actually get that head-to-head matchup of every single person or every single team, and the seeding actually reflects the power level of each of the teams, or at least it should in theory, because you've played each other,
Right.
You have direct comparisons, and you know exactly where you stand in the group.
Now, would you guys be happy if this is the way we played BlizzCon out?
Yes, please. Like, I was so hyped to play at BlizzCon, and it was amazing, right? And then you get on stage, we got 2-0, and then it's over. Like, there's nothing else, right? Like,
Right.
we go back home. So that was like disappointing. But I understand that obviously the event is 2 days and stuff. But if we can have that format or something similar to that for BlizzCon next year, that would be awesome.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Did you guys catch it? Well, I'm gonna ask anyway. Who caught today's action?
I did.
Most of it.
Okay. All right. I caught most of it. I missed the last game, but that's okay because we had I'll watch it on VOD later. KSV Black, I don't think anybody was surprised. Maybe you were, but they 3-1 Fnatic, and Dignitas lost to Ballistic in probably the closest series we've seen yet, 2-3. That was like I was on the edge of my seat that entire time. I thought that was a great match in my opinion.
A game of throws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have some thoughts on that, Hero?
KSV, you know, that was expected, and Steve will be my witness to this, but last night we talked about the Dig Ballistics matchup, and I gave Ballistics the edge. So I'm going to take the W on that one because I think Ballistics is the slightly better team. But that doesn't mean I count Dignitas out. They're playing very well. They have a very, very good chance to come back through the losers bracket. And they played really well in those games too. So I think if they tighten things up, clean it up, you could see them in the finals.
For me, I had Dignitas winning.
Don't feel bad. So did I.
They should have won. I actually have Dignitas winning the entire tournament because I feel like from the group stages at least, like they're probably the one team that has been playing the best out of everybody.
Really? Over Black?
Over Black.
Wow. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm sorry. That's not happening. That's just not happening.
I think so because the only reason I think so is because it's not like I think Dig is probably more talented than Black, but I just think like, you know, they're playing the right way and they're making the right calls like consistently more often than even Black has during the group stages. Black, you know, they start screwing around when they know that they're favored to win, so there's always chances of upsets. Yeah.
Well, let's do this. So we Bahgz put together a little sheet that we all kind of looked at and filled out a little bit, and we're running a little bit behind, so I'm gonna shorten it up. I just want to go over who everybody thinks is going into the grand final and who's going to win that, right? So it's only the last set, and we're gonna start with Bahgz. Actually, I'm gonna go right to left on the screen. So Bahgz, who's your pick to get into the grand finals, and what do you think the score will be?
Sorry, I muted myself. It's Black, and I have them beating Dig 3-2, and it's gonna.
And Bahgz just froze himself. Yeah. There we go. All right, you're good now. All
right. Those are the two best teams as far as we've seen through the group stages. And it's close. Like, Steve's not wrong saying that he thinks Dig's going to win. I just think that ultimately Black's still the best team in the world. The team hasn't changed. They are very quickly gelling and improving, but I don't know. There's something to be said for a team having that kind of chemistry that's been together for a little bit longer. Okay. So I'm leaning towards Black 3-2.
All right, Steve, we know you think Dig's winning it all, but who do you think they're playing in the grand finals?
probably it has to be black, right? Since they're in the winners finals now, so they have the easiest.
I mean, they could lose to Ballistics.
I don't see that happening. They've been beating Ballistics consistently for the last 4 or 5 months. So yeah, I think they're in the grand finals, and then Dignitas gets in. They're the losers. So 3-2 Dignitas.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Hero, you're up.
Hero, you're up.
I am gonna go with something that no one else is probably gonna go with. It's gonna be KSV and Ballistics finals. Ballistics is gonna go 3-2 because KSV just won the last BlizzCon. They did well on this patch. I think Ballistics is going to play this new patch well, and they're even skill wise. Skill wise, I think they're even, and I think they're gonna play this patch slightly better. And they matched up with Dig, so it's up to Dig to prove that they can go ahead and top them to get back into the finals. But I'm gonna go with Ballistics.
Okay. And KilluZiioN.
I have KSV Black winning 3-2 against Dignitas. I just think KSV, sorry, is just the best team in the world, and I think Dig's gonna take their revenge and they'll lose their final against Ballistic. It's gonna be a close one though. And since Yidboss is in the chat, I'll take the time to say that they're gonna get 3-0 by Fnatic. And prove me wrong, buddy.
Yeah. I at least gave them like a 3-1.
I said
against
3-2,
Fnatic.
man, 3-2, but I know Fnatic's going forward. It's rough, but I know. All right, so I'm off from all of you guys. I think Fnatic's gonna beat Dig. I think it's gonna be close, but I think Fnatic takes Dig, and it's gonna be KSV Fnatic, and KSV's gonna win. I'm already hosed though because I had Dig beating Ballistics today. So that messed up my whole bracket anyway. But yeah, they've been good games, and I like the tournament. I like the way it's playing. I like the style, like the whole round robin at the beginning for the seeding. Like everything about this tournament feels good, other than NA's group performance. Sorry, man.
It's true.
Right? Like I love Roll20. I love NA, but man, they are getting spanked, and China is not performing as I've talked China up for like the whole last half of phase 2. They're not performing as well either. So
Yeah, I don't trust your picks anymore.
right after all that, like my picks are useless at this point. Oh man. All right. Anybody have any last thoughts on GCWC before we do a quick amateur update?
I still have faith in Roll20. I don't know. I don't have them getting past Fnatic, but I do have them getting past SPT, and I think that they're really going to give Fnatic a run for the money. Calling it now.
Oh man, I'm gonna have a hotter take, and I have to apologize to Yitboss. Like I think they lose tonight against SPT.
It's gonna be rough. I think it's gonna be rough. I think so. I picked them to get by SPT, but 3-2. But this game tonight is gonna be rough. Like yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, Roll20. I want them to do well. I want them to perform. I want them to get more experience, because ultimately they're going to bring that back, and then we'll play against them, and then steel sharpens steel, metal sharpens metal, that kind of thing. So the stronger they are, the better it is for us too. So I am actually cheering for them too. I want them to do well.
I agree.
It's been my expression of the last month, but a rising tide lifts all ships. So. Listen, it's true.
No, it is. It is, and we all benefit from a stronger NA scene. So, all right.
No flame. No flame.
No flame. All right, so we just have 2 quick updates for amateur scene. Nexus Gaming Heroes and NGS season 3 signups are now open. Interesting, like alternative to Chair League. They started not too long ago, and they're actually doing pretty well, running pretty strong. Check them out. They cast a lot of their games as well. And Chair League's Christmas tournament is this weekend, so give that a watch or join it if you want to try join it. Dude, I didn't even know you had a bumper. I'm a mess. We got to talk more. All right. So, we're going to jump into some discussion stuff, which is second to last thing we're going to go over. And I'm going to give Bahgz his bumper this time. So, here we go. All right, go Bahgz.
All right, guys. So HGC 2017 is over. Moon Prayer, a writer for Tempo Storm, recently published an article on their website talking about the successes of HGC 2017 and what he would like to see for HGC 2018. KilluZiioN, you just finished playing an entire season. Hero, you just finished following an entire season. And Steve, you just bought an org and joined the league for 2018. So I think all three of you are pretty heavily invested in this scene and have some desires and some thoughts on what you would like to see. And with the player summit coming up, was it next week?
Yep.
A week and a half away?
Yeah, something like that.
It's coming up pretty quickly. And that's going to be your guys' opportunity to share your thoughts on that. Let's get a preview of that now. So roundtable, guys, all three just chime in. I'll pepper the questions, and all three of you just give your thoughts to me as you have them. What did you like from 2017 and you want to stay the same? Just one thing that you really liked and you want to keep going forward.
I liked how rapid they were at taking feedback. You know, if you think back, the very, very first HGC broadcast, the amount of improvement they made broadcast over broadcast, just in production value, in adding, more stats and in cleaning up their casting, that kind of thing. They made lots of improvements just through the course of a single season. If you look back at the first show and compare it to the end right now, they have done a lot. I think we sometimes forget that because it's almost like we've always had HGC now. Right. We've watched so many hours of it that's like that now we actually expect kind of a high level of it. But when it first came out, we had a lot of feedback, and they've actually taken a lot of that and made a really good production of it that we get to enjoy all the time.
One other thing I like is just the league format in general. Just the fact that we have games every week. So it's kind of just like every week you're focused based already, like, let's say you're playing GFE this week. So you can prepare a draft for specific strategies that week and just prep that over and over and be ready for the specific team, which is a thing I like, instead of like just being totally random or some, like, I don't know what other format it could be, but I kind of just enjoy that.
I like the stability that Blizzard brought to it. Like, it's a far cry from like a couple of years ago where roster apocalypse was happening every month. It's a lot stable now.
For sure. Like I know a lot of guys are upset with how locked into rosters they are, but it does add a measure of professionalism to it. I really started following the Heroes eSports scene after Cloud9 won BlizzCon, but like it was kind of a turnoff to see just like things like it seemed very amateur just to see teams come together and fall apart within a week. I didn't really like that, and it was hard to kind of latch on to anything. It's very easy to latch on to team freedom, and it's like, yes, it's going to change. The roster is going to change over time, and that's fine. As a Mets fan, the roster we had this year is going to look different next year, and I get that. But there are pieces that stay together for, a while at least. So that was my biggest thing that I liked. The next question I had for you guys is, what didn't you like? What do you think needs to be removed or completely changed?
Oh, all three of you are thinking of something, but nobody wants to go first. All right, I'm going to go first then. I'll take this one first, and you guys can think for a minute. I did not like the setup for BlizzCon. So there were two parts that I didn't like. I didn't like not being able to attend the first week. I totally would have gone down there for 2 weeks and done the first week and then done BlizzCon proper. I also did not like the method that they use to like the format of the tournament, right? We all talked about how it would be nicer if BlizzCon was running the same thing as GCWC, something like that. So those two, like that specific tournament, I would like to see changed.
I'll maybe enter in with just a personal one. What don't I like? I don't like that I can't get an HGC t-shirt. Just a plain t-shirt with a logo, right?
Wait,
some HGC merch. And this is before, like, beginning of the season, pre-hype. We knew this was coming. If you look at Overwatch League right now, every team has merch, right? If we can even just get something for the league, I would be happy. I know they had some HGC final stuff and some t-shirts this time around, but BlizzCon is, a full year afterwards. I would have liked them to have come out the gate and said, here's your gear, this is HGC, and I think a lot of people would have supported it.
I agree. I bought the jacket as soon as I saw the jacket. I love that hoodie. I wear it every day. Well, every day it's cool enough for me to wear a hoodie.
I mean, yeah, just to follow on your start, I think literally on their website they should have like a store right there with every team jersey, every HGC related stuff, and we can literally just buy it from there. I think that would be super easy for every fan or everyone around the scene.
I would love that because like NFLshop.com, right? I can pick any jersey from any team. I want that for HGC. Yeah. Heck yeah.
KilluZiioN, what are you wearing right now?
Where can we buy those yet?
Maybe. I think.
Not that I know of.
I'll get you a link later, man. I'm pretty sure we can buy them.
That'll happen.
Wait, Steve.
I'm gonna be kind of careful with my answer here because I still talk to Blizzard and stuff. So probably the one thing I think that probably needs to change, but doesn't probably have to change now, would be the patches. I think there's way too many balance changes in this league. Like any fan that's watching this, like the amount of balance changes they have to follow is ridiculous week after week. So if there was like more stability in gameplay, I think would create a better product, better viewing experience for the fans.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I do have to. Goofy did throw the meta threads link into chat, and I fixed it since Nightbot smacked him down. Yeah. So you can actually get a Team Freedom jersey in chat right now.
I told you, man.
Looking us up. All right.
So back to the question. The one thing I didn't like is just the production in general, which I think had a lot of like problems like over and over during the year, which is like it can go from casters to observer or just like the production in general, which I think was really weak. And I think it's a big thing to grow the esport in general. Like the Euro scene needs the best production as possible. And you can just look at the Gold League tournament and you can see those cool intro and you're like, damn, like I want that. This is dope. Like,
right.
And
I mean, that's always been a problem watching China or Korea, like specifically around HOTS, right? When you watch Heroes of the Storm in China or Korea, it seems like the production is amped up like 10 levels, right? So you get what you get for NA and EU, and then you watch a Korean tournament, and they're all on LAN all the time, and the UI and like the overlays and stuff are just a little bit better. And then you watch this Chinese tournament, and you're like, holy crap, this is like amazing. And then you go and you watch like Worlds, and you're like, can we have that, please? Like, I hate watching League because I watch League and I'm like, damn, I wish we had all of that. Like, I want that production on top of Heroes. That would be amazing, right? And I like Bahgz pointed out, Hero pointed out, they're getting better as they go. But yeah, there's definitely still room to improve. I would agree with that.
Like just for like something silly, like I was watching the Overwatch League earlier today, and there's like so much happening. And you don't miss anything. Yeah. Like there's a tracer flanking, a Widowmaker, or whatever. Like the camera's gonna switch. In Heroes, sometimes just you miss a gank top lane, and like the map is so small. Like, how can you miss that? And I don't know. There's so many stuff which, like, I don't know, gets on my nerve, I guess, and hopefully that, you know, gets fixed or gets improved on next year.
Well, I was standing in line after the grand finals to wait to play Heroes at BlizzCon, and they were interviewing the Overwatch guy, and he was talking about all the cool stuff they were going to do production-wise for Overwatch League. And I was standing next to Daz, the co-host on the Nexus Trolls with me, and I'm just like, man, we need that in Heroes. Like, you could see, like, there was half a dozen things where he was like, we're doing this, and we're doing this, and we're doing this, and every team's, the skins, every hero in Overwatch is going to have the team's Overwatch League skin on it. And I'm like, dude, like, it's the same art department, so why can't the Overwatch guys walk across the hall to the Heroes guys and be like, here's how we're doing this. Let's, like, you guys should have this. It's not rocket science, right? Like, little things like that, just where I'm like, Overwatch League, they're clearly putting a lot of money into it, and I understand why. And there's more money to be had in Overwatch than there is in Heroes. So I understand that, but like I want them to bring that stuff into Heroes and be like, yeah, let's amp up our production value with all these things that we learned from Overwatch League or from League of Legends or from just China and Korea and bring it into NA. So sorry. Like, I'm huge on that. Like, I consume so much of this. I want it to be that level.
I mean, to be fair, and Yipos already mentioned it, and I've had this conversation a lot with Guaz on the Weekly Blizz, shameless plug. It's I love Heroes. It's my esport of choice. It's my game of choice. But the game's not, it doesn't have 35 million reasons or a $20 million investment in its league to put that kind of investment back into the game. The game has to earn its own way. Overwatch is already, they're taking a big risk, but with 35 million people paying $60 for the game and then buying loot boxes on top of that in the game, you know, that game is making money hand over fist. We don't know how Blizzard won't give us the numbers of how many people play Heroes. So, which means it's probably not very good. It's not very high. We love the game, but it's hard to ask for them to. I'm very happy that we have a league, period.
Right. No, and you're right, and Yipos is right too, right? It's a money thing, and I understand that, but that doesn't mean I don't want those things, right?
No, I mean, it would be awesome. You're right. No, you're right. We want them. We just have to help keep. We have to keep creating content and trying to promote the game, and putting our best foot forward to make sure that someday we will get there.
Right. Where are we?
I lost my train of thought because I'm not gonna lie. I bought that jersey while you were talking.
Why am I not surprised at all? All right, so I know where we are. I got you, buddy. All right, what do we have, but what don't we have but need in HGC 2018? So I'm gonna kick this off with, how do you guys feel about 3 bans?
I mean, it could be a thing. I think the big question is where is the third ban? Like, between what round of picks, right? It's a big question because like there's so many, like, I don't know, so many let's say supports, right? Where on specific map you can't really play them, right? So if you start the draft with 2 support ban, let's say, and then you first pick one, like, can you just like totally mess over the other team? Like, there's some good question to ask, but I think it could be a thing for sure.
Since you guys are in the scene, you tell me, where would you put the ban at the front? Would you put 2 bands right at the front of Jump Street, or would you put that second band in the middle?
Maybe in the middle. I'm not really sure. I never actually took the time to see where it could be. Probably just in the middle, to be honest. Maybe before last pick or something. Like, when you see three heroes from both sides, maybe then you have 1, and then 4-4, 1 more ban, 5-5. You can more come to pick or that other stuff. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Hero.
Depends on what Blizzard's intention or what the community's intention for the bans is. Is it simply to limit the pool of heroes so that we see more variety? Because then you could just throw those at the front and you just get rid of the 4 heroes that you don't want to see, and then automatically get a larger hero pool to view from. If you want it to be more strategic, then of course placing it further down the line once you've seen what the other team has drafted, then you get more interesting drafts, more interesting counter drafting and banning. And so it just really depends on what your goal is with 3 bans.
For me, I have a pretty strong opinion about this. I actually think 3 bans isn't enough. I think you need 4, to be honest.
Whoa!
Like,
All right.
if there's like 0 chance of ever having Gazlo in a professional game, then I think there's not enough variety. Like I want to see everything being played in a tournament. So I want 4 bans, to be honest, but it is what it is. So I'm pretty sure 3 bans are going to come sooner or later. But personally, I think 4 bans are required. And I would put it at the end. I like the strategic play of draft where you can counterplay, like block them from being able to pick certain, go certain directions with their draft, things like that. So I would put them like right before last pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think we're almost done with questions. All right. Besides more money, what is the number one thing that you all would like to see from Blizzard regarding HGC?
Lands. For playoff, for Crucible, more lands in general,
Oh,
for
God.
like
Yes.
So-
region specific, like one for NA, one for EU, stuff like that.
Lands
We are
for
the-
Crucible is like a must do.
Yeah,
And
we
for
are.
playoff as well, I think. Well,
Yeah, I'm on the record of saying that that would be huge. Trent didn't necessarily agree. Made some valid points, but for playoffs and Crucible, I think that would be huge. They have that beautiful arena. Let's use it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an opportunity. You played in it, KilluZiioN. I'm sure you agree. It's
Yes.
there. Let's use it, right? It hasn't been announced yet. I fully expect Phase 1 Western Clash to be in that arena. That's my prediction. And yeah, that's the biggest thing I want too. Is I want more lands, and I want Western Clash. I want Crucible, and I want playoffs played in a LAN, and I want them. And then I want it happening at that arena. I don't know where they would do it in EU. I'm sure they can figure it out though.
If Western Clash happens in that arena, I'm going to Western Clash.
Probably try and figure something out to make it happen.
Right?
hopefully they
That
put
is if they
people in the
sell-
crowds this
Yeah, I was
time,
about to
you
say
know?
that is if they sell tickets for it.
Right.
because
Yeah.
they do-
We can hope. We can hope. All right, Hero.
I think I want them to make it easier for fans to support their teams, right? We had cheering, which was okay, but it wasn't totally, transparent where all that was going, or even if that total split was there. You can buy some merchandise, but you really have to go out and search for it on your own. I think they are updating the website so you can, connect a little bit more with the players. You can find their social media. You can find the heroes they played, their builds, that kind of thing. So just making it easier to, find out if they stream, click that link, follow them however you can. If there's ways to support them or the teams. Just making it really, really easy and simple for the fans to actually interact and support their teams and their favorite players.
NFLshop.com.
And maybe send Coach Hero to Summit.
Man, if you didn't get the invite now, you ain't getting the invite, buddy. All right, Steve.
Oh man, the 2 of you guys brought up really good ones. For me, then, it probably has to be like, I would like them to probably expand like their production in terms of like discussion on teams and things like that. Improve the production a bit. Have more, discussion of like strategies or maybe more analysis or something. Right now, it's just here's the game. And let's talk about it like for like 2 minutes, having like a 1 minute interview, and then move on to the next game.
Right.
Like they used to do the whole weekly heroes thing.
I love that.
That was, yes, I love that. Right. And there was a lot of discussion about the games, after it happened, like things to look forward to. We don't have that anymore. So I want something like that to come back.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be great. I definitely would love that.
So
Go ahead.
I'm echoing. Okay, I'm good. So what if we had like a podcast like this, right, before every like day of HGC, and you can like do like a resume of like what happened the day before, and, like explain the draft and like talk about the incoming matches, and then you start the broadcast with the teams. Like stuff like that is actually so cool to watch, in my opinion.
I agree. It's a lot of, definitely a lot of production, right?
Yeah, it
like,
is.
That's the challenge. I really enjoyed Gilly and Dredd doing the weekly Nexus show that they were doing. It was like 10 minutes. It probably took a lot of production to do that as well, but like it was solidly done, and it caught you up pretty quickly. It wasn't as deep as it could have been, but I mean, again, 10-minute show, right? Where if you do something like an hour and a half where you could really dive deep into each of them. But I think if you look out there, like J-How tries to do some of that. Cavalier Guest was doing some of that. Hero even did some of that for Open Division. Like those videos that you were doing for Open Division. Similar things, right? Where you dig into the games and the draft and everything else. So it would be easy enough for Blizzard to say, you know what we're going to do? J-How and, Jake. Or like... It could be any personalities. They could say, we're going to throw you guys a little bit of money, but we want you weekly producing this video. Or even, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to lead into HGC with you showing the video. But then my biggest, one of the complaints I actually had, which would cause a problem with this, it drives me nuts that Blizzard Esports, when Heroes Esports tweets, hey, guess what? Games are about to start. And it's noon on Friday, and they're talking about EU. It's like, dude, games started 6 hours ago when Korea was on. Like, you can't, like, you totally discount Korea when you tweet like that, and it's like my little pet peeve. Like, don't do that. Korea already ran. Like, you can't be like, HGC starting right now. Like, dude, HGC started 6 hours ago for some of us. Like, that's not how that works. All right, sorry. That drives me nuts. But yes, I totally agree. Like, it would be cool to have some kind of show like that, and J-How could do that, or anybody could. Polaris does some of them, less than the other guys, but Kendrick's doing some of those too for EU, right? Like, there are people doing content like that. It wouldn't be hard for Blizzard to reach out and say, hey, let's do something a little more official. We'll give you assets. We'll give you that. We'll tell you the games we think you should cover. Maybe even clips of like important pieces. Like, they could do that. If you're listening, Blizzard, do that. All right. Before I jump into our closing section, do you guys have anything you want to add or shout outs you want to make? Because we can do shout outs now.
Who goes first, man?
Go ahead,
shy.
KilluZiioN, you talked. You go first.
I mean, just shout out for like the league in general. Like 2017 was obviously like a process. Like the league improved on the way, and I think 2018 is just gonna be better, and hopefully like all those like thing like people talks about like gonna get in the league, and it's gonna be like just a great league, and hopefully we get that number one.
Awesome. Hero?
Shout out to the Heroes community, and especially all my followers and everybody who's supported me along the way. Shout out to Steve and LFM for picking me up. I'm gonna throw the shout out to the boys. That's the newly dubbed Figgy, who that came out of nowhere. No one had an idea. You got Aware, Swabs, Draded, and T. They're all hardworking guys. Thanks to those guys. And always thanks to Twitch chat. Got to stay on the good side.
Yes. Steve?
Shout out to my team and my players. They worked really hard to get where they are today, so I'm really proud of them. Follow us at LFM eSports on Twitter. And yeah.
Awesome. So we do a help wanted section. And I was asking Bahgz about this because I want to make sure that this is really supposed to be there before I say this. And neither of us put this in there. So are you guys looking for a marketing manager? Is that like a real thing?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
All right. So the thing was, we didn't know we were going to make HGC until like a month ago. So since then, we've been trying to play catch up on the business side, and we're gonna be hiring some positions, and right now we're looking for a marketing manager. I'll be putting more details up on the Twitter. So just if you're interested, follow LFM Esports. And yeah.
Awesome. We've so far we've filled like 3 positions via this show, which is crazy to me, but like we've done it. So I'm gonna keep doing this. This is awesome. All right. Thank you all for listening to Trollin HGC, a weekly podcast about Heroes of the Storm eSports, a member of the Trolls.gg Entertainment Network. We stream live on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/TrollsGG, every week on Wednesdays following the Nexus Trolls at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. Bahgz, where can people find you?
People can follow me on Twitter at Bahgz HGC. They can watch me stream at twitch.tv/Bahgz. As well, if you enjoyed tonight's show and are interested in Blizzard's other esports offerings, consider subscribing to the Weekly Blizz, where my buddy Gwaz and I cover all of Blizzard's esports offerings and can be found on all podcast sources.
Steve, if people want to follow you, not just necessarily the brand, what should they do?
Oh man.
On the spot.
Well, you can follow me. You can follow me on Twitter, but I don't post anything. I'll reply back if you DM, but that's I'm a very isolated kind of guy.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with that.
I'm too old for social media, to be honest.
There's no way. No. All right. Now you opened yourself up. Wait, I have to ask. How old are you? Ish.
30-some, 32.
Come on, man. I turned 40 in January. You don't get to play that card? What?
I'm sorry, but I don't. I grew up never doing Facebook and stuff like that.
All right. All right. Fair enough. All right, Hero, you're up, man.
I mean, they do have their LFM Esports. There's at Imported Support. You can follow Figgy. He's at FZ Ignition. At The Aware, except it's TEH, so Aware. And then there's at Swabs Magoo, at Drained Hots, and at Specialty _ myself. It's at HeroPhysio.
Awesome. And KilluZiioN, you're up, man.
By the way, best coach in right there.
Right? You know what? You're right. Yeah, I will comment on that. KilluZiion's absolutely right, because we have had other coaches, other managers, and none of them have, like, I'm going to go down the list of the entire team. So props to you, man.
Yeah. I had it open on the side. I was ready.
Take that, Charles and Landon.
Right?
And you guys can follow me on at KilluZiioN on Twitter, twitch.tv/KilluZiioN. I don't stream. I don't have the internet for it. I live, north of the wall. So you guys can still get the emote, I guess.
The White Walkers haven't gotten you yet, have they?
No. I swear. Other than that, shout out to Freedom, shout out to eSports US, HyperX, and I guess Meta Thread for the jersey, right? You can get
there.
There
you go. Meta Threads for the jersey.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. And you can follow me at LiQuidGG, LiQIUDGG. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. You can follow us on Twitter at Trollin HGC for show announcements and Heroes of the Storm news. Find us on Twitch at twitch.tv/trolls.gg and subscribe to us on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher. And make sure to let us know how we're doing. We love feedback. You can hit us up on Twitter. You can leave comments on the shows, whatever works for you. Just share your thoughts, because we love to hear from you guys. Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thanks for having us again.
No, man, no problem. It was a great show. Thank you guys for being here. And thank you, chat, and we'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.
Have a good night.